everyone, welcome. Grab a snack, make some coffee, however you feel. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Hi everyone, I am Liz Grumbach. Welcome to the first Digital Humanities events of the fall semester. For those that don't know me, I am the Assistant Director of Research and Strategic Communications in the Lincoln Center, where I also direct our Digital Humanities Initiative, the thing that has brought us together today. So thank you for being here. Just a few other things. My pronouns are she, her, and just a brief visual description for accessibility reasons. I'm a very fair-skinned white woman, very, with longish dark blonde hair. I have some black glasses on and a black mask. I'm usually always wearing all black, but today I'm wearing a pink shawl, which is very weird. So first, a few housekeeping things. So thanks for those that are here in person. Please get up and grab coffee or snacks or however you'd like during the event today. Fairly informal discussion, especially after we hear from our speakers. For those that are joining us remotely, thank you for being here. Just as a note, this session is being recorded, so if you would like to make sure that you're not in the recording that we put up on our YouTube channel, make sure that your camera stays turned off and or let us know if you're in the room if you don't want to be in the video. We'll edit you out. Also, we have the chat open in the room. So if you would like to say hello and introduce yourself in the chat, we can see it. As we get underway today, please feel free to use the chat at any time today to ask questions for our panelists or for anyone else that's in the room. If you'd like to raise your hand and ask a question during the Q&A section, we will have moderators in the room that will make that happen and unmute to help you to unmute. Moderators are also very happy to read your question aloud. So please indicate that in the chat if you prefer. Project as much as possible. Sometimes that means that the TV recognizes my voice and I have to be quiet for a moment. This event and all events of the Digital Humanities Initiative are made possible by the Lincoln Center for Applied Ethics, where the initiative is housed, and also the Division of Humanities in the college. So thank you, Dean Jeffrey Cohen, wherever on campus you are. It is also made possible due to the work of the Digital Humanities Initiative Steering Committee, which is Sarah Florini, who has joined us today on Zoom, Jonathan Hope, Michael Tuller, and Serena Ferrando. So thank you to those folks that might be joining us on Zoom a little bit later, hopefully. It's a really great pleasure to serve as the director of the initiative and work with those folks and also make conversations like this possible. So thank you for being here. I also have to say that all of our events in the Lincoln Center would not be possible without the work of Jordan and Zoe. So thank you. One of them is even on camera, so y'all can see. Amazing. So the thing that I always say at these DH events too is that we shape what we do together in these semesters together. So if you have an idea, if you want to lead a reading group, if you want to have a coffee hour where we discuss something, where you want to present a project that you've been working on, please feel free to email me. That's folks on Zoom as well. Please feel free to email me. We love to make things like that happen. Today, we have organized this panel on experiences at the Digital Humanities Summer Institute to celebrate those who received a 2025 tuition fellowship. So we'll hear from them in a moment with reflections on the experience and perhaps a bit about their current digital scholarship too. But I would love for us to take a moment and celebrate them. Thank y'all. I know people on Zoom are clapping. Thank you. So I will take a moment to say just a little bit about the Digital Humanities Summer Institute. DHSI is a long-standing digital scholarship training institute. It was previously held at the University of Victoria and is now held in Montreal. So our folks were there for the first year of it being in Montreal. So I'm really looking forward to hear from them, which is amazing. The DHSI network is very vast. The event combines hands-on training and courses with conference-like events, showcases, networking. It is, I believe, one of the friendliest academic spaces that I have ever been in, so hopefully we can reflect on that a little bit. I do want to point out to folks, and I'm just going to share my screen very briefly, that you can access information about DHSI by going to dhsi.org. We can put that in the chat as well. There are various things that you can do on this website. It is a newly designed website, which is awesome. I just wanted to show folks just really quickly the kinds of course offerings that happen at DHSI every year. So this was last year in 2025. If you scroll down, you can see what they were offering in 2025. If you were interested, for example, someone call out something that they're interested in, a course.
Cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity.
That was 2 years ago, and I'd say that, but
cybersecurity isn't there, but
never mind.
Computational text analysis.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Computational text analysis with stylometry and R. If we read about that, it's beginner to intermediate level course. You can read all about it, and if you're interested in computational text analysis at all, there are courses like that for y'all. Thanks for having me. You can also see, if you go to the events page, all of the other things that happen at the same time as DHSI. So there's institute lectures, there's conferences and colloquiums, there's info sessions, there's a lot of events that happen at the same time that you can choose to go to and meet other people that are working on similar work as y'all. There are institute lectures, etc. So I will stop sharing my screen to say that the reason that we're gathering today, and also the reason I wanted to introduce folks to DHSI, is because our DHSI tuition fellowship program is currently accepting applications. We are definitely running it this year, so definitely apply this year, because as everyone knows, budgets are a little weird right now. Yeah. So definitely apply this year to go to DHSI. We are a partner institution for DHSI, so the Digital Humanities Initiative is running that fellowship program. We are covering all of the costs of tuition, which is up to a $1,200 cost, I believe. So we will cover all of tuition. And the deadline for applications is November 1st, so you have a little bit of time, but definitely apply. Contact me. My email is in the chat. Thank you, Zoe. If you have any questions, if you'd like me to chat with, if you'd like to send information to your students, for those that are here, super happy to talk about that in classes. And if anyone here has any questions, if you are a student, please let me know. And now I get to transition to the exciting part of the event. I am going to introduce all of our speakers today and read their bios. And then we're gonna get started from there. That sounds good. Amazing. So Ema Santos Quiroz is originally from the Peruvian Andes. Ema is an ABD in the doctorate program in Spanish literature and a graduate teaching associate at the School of International Letters and Cultures, SILC, from Arizona State University. Ema graduated with a Master of Arts in Spanish from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee and a Master of Arts in English from Winona State University. She additionally holds a degree in environmental engineering and higher education from Peru. With over 15 years of experience working in university and college education, her scholarly work centers on language acquisition, indigenous literature, and environmental humanities. Her research project includes an analysis of indigenous literature and traditional scientific knowledge from the Andes and Amazon. Welcome, Ema. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Our next speaker that I'm introducing today is Xueyi Yuan. Xueyi Yuan is a PhD student in writing, rhetorics, and literacies in the Department of English at Arizona State University and holds a graduate certificate in computer-assisted language learning. She is currently a graduate teaching assistant at the ASU writing programs, where she works as the Associate Director of Second Language Writing and teaches first-year composition and business writing. As a researcher and writing teacher, Xueyi is interested in topics related to second language writing, teacher education, and multimodal composition, which sounds amazing. Thanks for being here. Our next speaker is Cloyd, who is a PhD student in religious studies at Arizona State University's School of Historical Philosophical. It's shippers, y'all. Shippers.
Shippers is good.
Shippers. He received his bachelor's in religious studies at the University of Oklahoma and his master of theological studies in religion, ethics, and politics at Harvard Divinity School. In addition to his work at Shippers, Cole collaborates alongside ASU's Center for the Study of Religion and Conflict. His research focuses on the intersections of religion, politics, violence, and extremism across American history. He has previously published work discussing American fundamentalism and Christian nationalism, highlighting their constantly shifting relationships to the nation state. Currently, he is working on a project discussing how far-right groups utilize social media and public debates to radicalize their audiences and demean their opponents. I would like to talk to you.
Oh, I'd be happy to.
There's something that happened this week.
Yeah, it's something.
Something happened this week. Our next speaker, oh, sorry, wait, Cole.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Our next speaker today is Sam Brierley. Amazing. Sam Brierley is a PhD student in English literature at ASU. Her research focuses on how animals and insects appear in 18th to 19th century British print culture, and how these non-human figures expose anxieties about embodiment, power, and the boundaries of the human. Her work explores topics ranging from Gothic monsters to Victorian beetles, often through the lenses of satire, sexuality, and science. She has published on Dracula, Saki short fiction, and the gendered history of honeybees, with a forthcoming article on disability in Star Trek appearing in a special issue of the Canadian Journal of Disability Studies. With over 7 years of teaching experience across high school and university classrooms, Sam brings a deep commitment to making literature and writing engaging, accessible, and empowering. She's especially interested in how literature's comic, creepy, and creaturely moments invite us to rethink cultural norms and the stories we tell about difference. Thank you for being here, Sam. And now we haven't discussed how folks will go, but we're going to transition into brief presentations and then discussion afterward. I have Cole sitting right next to me. Would you like to?
I am ready, willing, and able.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Cole. So Cole Cloyd's going to go first. Thank you for being here.
No, thank y'all for having me. And I just want to open with an admission that I'm just not a very tech savvy person. It wasn't something I had a lot of experience with growing up. Up until high school, my middle of nowhere hometown still had floppy disks. So it was something I was always kind of slow adapting to. But unfortunately, with the career direction I took as somebody who's a scholar of white supremacy, Christian nationalism, etc., I often find myself stuck in front of a screen. I'm looking at social media, I'm looking at the news, I'm looking at these things, and I often find myself studying a variety of extremist materials, books, newspapers, magazines, blogs, videos, social media posts on everything you can imagine, for better and for worse. And inevitably, with such a large kind of data set, you have to develop new ways of engaging with information. And with that, as we've prioritized in Shippers, and I would say at ASU in general, is making our scholarship adaptive and engaging for a wider audience. And is that issue of rigor and accessibility that I was able to address in my time at DHSI, thanks to everybody here at DHI. I have been very blessed to attend DHSI twice, thanks to the folks here once again. And my time at both the University of Victoria and the University of Montreal has helped me address this kind of critical issue. When I first applied to attend DHSI in the summer of 2024, I had my heart set out on attending a class revolving around cybersecurity. That fell through, and I decided to make a very difficult move into something that sounded very risky for me. And that was a class on podcasting. And I know there's plenty of podcasts in the world. It seems silly, but I prioritize that class because I think it's important for scholars to be able to articulate their ideas in several different forms. Obviously, especially our English department colleagues are excellent writers and facilitators in a written sense, But I think it's also important to demystify the academy and do that in several different forms and make it tangible for not just our academic colleagues, but for people who are interested in these issues across, across the world, across our various different communities. And speaking from a religious studies background, podcasts like Straight White American Jesus, The Revealer, and Disarming Leviathan are all examples of tackling pertinent scholarship and topical issues in an interesting way that through the podcast. And now, thankfully, I don't have a podcast to plug just yet, but it's a work in progress. But my experiences with this course reiterated what I think is our responsibility to extend our work beyond the written form. And there's much more I can talk about DHSI that I can talk about from the people and the presentations that we all got to witness, which are always engaging, always enlightening, and challenging in a variety of different ways, good challenges. But I want to keep it short and say that my experience was so positive, I couldn't wait to apply again. And so I was able to do this, so I was able to attend again this summer, where I took with our other colleagues a class on stylometry and analysis of written texts. It was the class, for me, it was the class that stuck out to me again because I engaged with so much written material in different forms. And in doing so, I do it across a variety of different timelines. And I'll readily admit that it's something I'm still grappling with in my research, how to integrate that tech. Again, I'm not tech savvy. It's very difficult, which I think is, again, a good challenge, but it's something to be aware of. But those conversations we had around coding tool and artificial intelligence has encouraged me to experiment a little bit more. And with the tools I took from that course, I'm able to quickly highlight and illustrate reoccurring ideas and how they are carried between different people and times. I mentioned a project where I was talking about debate, especially on social media. I'm also working on another project looking specifically at like newspapers from across American history, primarily those that were published by the Ku Klux Klan. And so that these are tools that are specifically helpful in analyzing what is such a large catalog of information. And especially when some of them are very difficult to read in many varieties, this helps streamline that and makes it much more accessible, not just for me, but I think in diagramming it as well for folks who don't have that kind of experience. And like I said, I'm still trying to implement all the tech and the strategies. I reiterate again and again, I'm not tech savvy. I'm still figuring these things out, but I think that's part of the joy of like what DHSI does in getting people to explore something new, new tools, new pedagogies, new approaches, so on and so forth. And it reminds us as academics, especially folks in the humanities, to take risks, to experiment. And I would say we live in a perilous time for academia. And that means we have to adapt and illustrate that our work has significance in a variety of fields and in new ways. As humanists, we have to adapt and find new ways of illustrating how important our work is. And so I'm going to end it on that. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
We'll get into questions after everyone has a bit of talking, but I do have to say to everyone, if you have gone to DHSI or started a digital, you're a digital humanist now. Like, you are a digital humanist for sure. And I had a friend once that said to me many years ago that you're a digital humanist when you know just enough to be dangerous. So thank you, Cole.
Thank you all.
Emma, I see that you're next, or would you like to go next?
Sure. Yes.
Awesome.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, my experience is very similar also because this was the second year I attended the DHSI. The first year was in 2024 at the University of Victoria, and I took 2 classes. And on the second year, this year, I also took 2 classes. So you can tell that I was really in love of all the classes and all. And hopefully next year, at least next year, I can go again. But I I can tell that I went again and again because the process, the application process is very straightforward. It's very easy, and also Elizabeth helps a lot with the application, and also she can give you a good advice on if you are interested on any of the courses and you are not really knowing anything about it. She can give you a good advice. However, I would say that if you're planning on taking more than one course, you can also look for other scholarships. Like, for example, the Digital Humanities Fusion Scholarship that offers the university is a very good option because the application process is also very straightforward. There are probably more people that apply for that scholarship, but I think it is worth it. I also got other scholarship from the sales department, and but I was really interested on these courses because yeah, the same as you, I didn't have much knowledge on Digital Humanities, but I know that since you notice that all of us, we are really different, our disciplines are very different, this is a really interdisciplinary field. If your research can be digitized, if you're working with data, I think you can apply for the Digital Humanities. You are going to use this because any type of text, any type of material data that you're working with can be used, can be digitized, can be used as data for to analyze. And so, as you said, the volume of digital content is going to grow, and you are going to need this information that the professor share with you. And talking about my experience, I took 4 classes, and I went to each class without a project like set in mind. I had a blurred idea of what I wanted to do, but yeah, the professors are really helpful. They guide you through the classes. I know the classes feel a little bit too short because it's 1 week of intensive work, but they are really knowledgeable. They are expert in their fields. They work here in the United States, in Canada, in Europe, so they are very updated on all the research that is going on. So I took, for example, 1 class of designing digital publications in my first year, which was very helpful. I learned a lot on how to publish my work without having to go to a publisher or having to think, oh, now I need to print out my scholars, my work, and I don't know who's gonna read it. Maybe it's gonna be sitting over there. But you can actually go make like use the platforms that are over there, like Pressbooks, Omeka, and a Scalar, and make it possible to make your research more interactive and things like that. So for my research, I am working with stories from the Amazon, and I am analyzing how is the representation of nature in these stories and how this interaction on human and non-human is reflected in these stories, and how this also reflects the scientific knowledge on these groups. So what I do a lot is to analyze these texts for what I use a lot of natural language processing and probably grammatical tagging or part of the speech analysis. So I took 1 class here at ASU on Digital Humanities for language majors, which was very helpful to guide me through my later experience at Montreal where I took one class on coding fundamentals for humanists. So even if you don't have any experience, even if you don't have a project in mind, I think these courses are gonna be very useful for you.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much, Emma. I love it. There are patterns emerging already that I'm excited to talk about. Sam, would you like to? Okay, amazing.
Thank you. So it's funny, the three of us took the same class, so I was also in stylometry and R, which is like a little reunion. You have to come next year, we all have to do the same.
I love it.
But I, like Cole, I am like, I call myself digitally challenged. So the fact that you're calling us digital humanists is, I feel very included. But I just have to give a quick shout out to the instructors. They were so incredibly helpful, so knowledgeable, like Emma was saying. I mean, talk about differentiated learning. There were probably 20 or so of us in there, and it ranged from people who literally wrote the book on stylometry to like Cole and I, where we were like, what is stylo? And everyone in between, and they were just so accommodating. A few of us realized that we wanted to actually pivot away from stylometry and go more toward distributive semantics. And the two instructors were amazing. They stayed up all night on Wednesday, pivoted completely, and then Thursday, Friday, they were actually giving us like a crash course on semantics. And it was just like, I cannot hype them up enough that they were just so incredible. And you can tell they just really love what they do. With that said, I'm still very much learning. To prep for this, I looked up all of my saved documents and everything from the summer. I had 33 bookmarks websites, 6 programs downloaded on my laptop, 17 pages of single-space bullet point notes, and a world of ideas. But yeah, this is my first intro to DH, and it's been mind-boggling how alien of a world I thought it was, and then being there and immersing myself, it was just I was like, yes, these are like my core tenets. Like in the class, we have these mantras of like, always question your results. And I was like, oh my gosh, I tell my students that. It's like, question everything, challenge. And so it was cool to actually see that in this, what I thought was this distant world, and it was actually like, no, this is something you'd say 3 times a week for 2 hours straight. Another one was your data matters, like looking at actual evidence. So I just think there's so much potential for DH to trickle into, I mean, something as simple as like English 101 media literacy and looking at that. And so I just thought it was incredible, and I'm like, now I'm hooked. But yeah, as far as my personal experience with it, I thought it was so incredibly helpful. Like I'm like scribbling down the due dates for the applications for this year, so they're stuck with me hopefully. But I went in looking at, I have this hypothesis of looking at 19th century British like domestic novels and looking at these romantic relationships, and my hypothesis, this is my forced audience, I'm gonna make you guys listen, but my hypothesis is when the male characters initiate romantic interest in the female characters, it's often couched in terms of hunting rhetoric. So it's the thrill of the chase. They're catching them. It's this kind of consensual game, where the women are literally called game. So, and then when women initiate any kind of courtship dynamics or anything like that, it's couched in terms of fishing. So she lured him in, she baited him, he was hooked, and it's this kind of connotation of like trapping or non-consensual like trickery. And so I was like, this class is perfect, because I'm looking at how often these fishing and hunting terms are correlated and have that proximity to kind of these gendered or romantic terms. So the fact that they even went into distributional semantics and talking about engrams and neighborhoods and the sliding scales, I was just like, this is exactly what I want to do with my dissertation, and like this is my way forward. So it was just, I don't know, like the heavens parted and like it was, yeah. And it was like a European man telling me about semantics. And yeah, it was just, I was like, this is it. And so I know my time's almost up, but I hope to come back next year. These two can verify, we were practically like on our knees begging the instructors to do a whole course just on semantics, and we like made them pinky promise us. And we would like sign petitions for them to create the course for us. So I'm hoping to see it on the list. Yeah, I wanna keep coming back to this, and I'm so grateful that this program even exists and you give us the opportunity with the scholarships and the program and the partnership with DHSI. So I can't thank everyone enough who's part of this. Cool, I think you said something really cool, like part of the joy is the learning and the kind of getting out of the comfort zone. And I feel like this week was like, I was learning in the deep end. I will put it like that. So I can't teach stylo for certain, that would be a disaster. But I have learned enough, as you were saying, to be dangerous. So I am very dangerous right now, but I am also very enamored, and I want to bring DH into everything I do. So thank you.
Thank you, Donna. The patterns continue, and you're gonna have to write those mantras like on the board for us later. That sounds amazing. Thank you so much. And our last speaker is Xueyi. Would you like to go? Amazing.
Hi everyone, I'm Xueyi. I'm studying writing letters and literacies in the English department. And I'm also teaching first year composition for the writing programs. So much of my research is related to teaching student writing and working with writing teachers. I mostly work with multilingual students because I'm in second language writing. For the past couple iterations of first year composition that I have taught, I've been incorporating digital multimodal composition. So what I did in my course was for one of the projects, I asked my students to compose a video essay instead of a traditionally written essay. I did that because one of my colleagues doing her dissertation study in my course, so I was basically made to teach video essay. But I got very excited about that. It was super fun because I felt it offers a different set of affordances compared to written essay. There have been arguments going on in writing studies that we should retire the written essay because nobody's writing essays, which I don't think is true. There's benefits to writing essays, but I also see that there's also a lot of value like in teaching students how to engage in multimodal composition. And because I'm interested in that, so I went to DHSI and I took this class in multimodal rhetorics and digital writing. We did a lot of experiments with different digital tools for multimodal composing. We did slide essays, iDocs, and we created an interactive website using Twine. I think some of both mentioned that. It was super cool when you see the final product. The process takes a little bit learning, but it was really fun. And we also worked a little bit with sound editing on the last day. I think this even pushes beyond the idea that we can only communicate information with image or picture, because sound also communicates idea, and how you synthesize like all modes of communication in one piece of writing. That's it. That is a cool idea. I don't know if I'll be able to apply all the things I learned at DHSI this summer in my first year composition class, because that was a lot, but I think definitely there's something I can take away from there and incorporate in my teaching practices. I would say my overall DHSI experience was super positive for a couple of reasons, and for the same reasons, I really encourage everybody to go if you have the time. So I met different people in the class. These people are from different fields. The two instructors, they are from writing studies, same disciplinary background as me, but everybody else, they were doing different things. We had a professor from university somewhere in Mexico City, and she's doing sociology. We also have students doing something, I can't exactly pinpoint what she was doing, but she's from somewhere in Europe. So very different ideas people bring into the class. And it helped me see how digital humanities can be manifested in different disciplines. And that was eye-opening for me because I didn't have an idea of what is digital humanities before I went in. And from these people were really nice. The instructors were very helpful, very caring, and people had a very I would say we had a very welcoming class environment because of the instructors, also because of the students there. It was like a very collaborative team. But for the whole time I was in Montreal, I was wondering where was everybody else from ASU. Now I think
We're hiding from you.
I was the only one there.
But people are nice, so I'm going to say. I was also exposed to a lot of different research ideas, research opportunities, which I wouldn't have access to if I didn't go. And that's also something that could be beneficial, especially if you're looking into researching and publication opportunities. And the third thing I would say, I feel most of the courses, they are very beginner friendly, mostly introductory classes for beginner and intermediate level students. So even if you don't have a very solid foundation in say coding, you can still go and find something that works for you. The one thing for me at Montreal is I don't speak French. It was a little bit to navigate at the very beginning, but people were so nice and they would switch to English the moment they realized you're struggling with French. So that was a little struggle for me. But overall, really, really wonderful experience. I so appreciate DSI, ASU to provide this.
Thank you, Xueyi. I want to talk to you about time so badly, but we'll do that after. Thank you. I think we have a question in the chat. Yeah.
Yes. Are there sessions that people can attend to have their application proofread before submitting it?
That's a really good question. I'm gonna, so I will answer that, but also I'm gonna ask our folks to maybe respond to like what the application process feels like how, right? Like, I think someone or at least one person mentioned that it's a kind of easy, like low barrier access application. Great. So if anyone wants to say a little bit about application, then I'll answer that specific question.
Yeah, no, really, you don't need to prepare much. It's just very straightforward. It's very easy, simple. I think I did my application in a couple of hours. Yeah, I mean, if you want to think about the courses that you want to take, then you can maybe contact Elizabeth, but other than that.
Yeah, I completed both of my applications very quickly, just within the span of a few hours. And I was just gonna say, as of right now, we don't have the course listings. They will be, I just got an email on the way here that they have the schedule for DHSI this year or next year, and that the courses will be revealed in October. But even if you're applying at this moment where you don't have courses, I think just having a general idea of what we're talking about is like, how would you integrate digital humanities? How would you integrate tech into your scholarship? So I think like you can be very broad. It's a very short application. I don't think it can extend 350 words. Is I think what it is. So it can be very condensed, be very broad in its goals, as long as you're like illustrating I think that passion that you want to take the risk, you want to try something different and explore different tools.
Thank you so much. If anyone else would like. Okay, I'll answer that specific question, and also I'm checking to make sure if I know how many words. Maybe someone else can do that for me, but it's okay. You have such a good memory.
I looked at it yesterday.
Okay, amazing. So thank you both for responding, and I'll just to answer that direct question. Folks sometimes contact me, like Emma, we've chatted a little bit, right? In advance of the application, if you want to come in and chat with me, I'm usually on campus or on Zoom all the time. So if you want to chat about what questions you have, but also specifically what classes you might be interested in based on last year's classes or the project that you're working on or what's a good beginner course, I'm totally here for that. Proofreading wise, if you wanted to come to a meeting with me, then we can talk about kind of some of the ideas that you were thinking of, how you're gonna link your application, the course that you've chosen or potential courses that you've chosen to the things you're interested in. So basically, I'm available and I love to talk about digital humanities. So please come visit me. All right. If there are any other folks that want to ask a question in the chat, we're here. Questions about what our panelists are working on or DHSI, we're open to those things, but also in the room, I'll be quiet for 11 seconds. A mentor told me, be quiet for 11 seconds. Jordan.
Raised hand is
Oh, amazing. Karine, would you like to say hello?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
I'm gonna turn the volume up just a little bit. And now I think you should be loud.
Okay, is it better?
It's perfect.
Okay, so I guess my question, a follow-up question to that is, so is the application supposed to speak to the course you're choosing? Because I think I heard someone say that the courses being offered are not out yet. So assuming I speak to, let's say, the NLP course, because I've just looked at it, and then they don't offer that next year, what happens then? Is my application going to be void, or should I make my application very generic so that I'm not like applying, like using a specific course or program as my rationale for the application?
That is an amazing question, Karine. And I actually went to the application just to make sure I remembered what exactly it looks like. I will say, one of the things that happens at DHSI sometimes is that classes fill up almost as soon as they announce the class. So sometimes you don't get into even if you kind of wait to fill out the application until they release classes, which I actually, fill it out as soon as you can. Then the course that you're talking about might actually be full. That is not going to void your application. And it's also not going to void your application if you change your mind after a couple of weeks. So the way the committee, the steering committee evaluates the applications is based on a rubric that is very, very related to the last half of the question on the application, which is something to further your current scholarship or your interest in digital humanities. So it's kind of that part of the reflection on how the experience of DHSI could help you further something that you're currently working on or bring you new knowledge. And as I think all of our speakers today talked about, kind of opening yourself up to experiencing and learning something that will help your professional development. Any follow-up questions, Karine? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. We can see the chat, so.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you have any questions, come chat with me. And I think all of our panelists also would love to speak to anyone that's interested. I'm gonna throw it to people. I was about to say,
No, I mean, if you want more information on, if you need some help, any help that I can provide, I am very happy to reply any emails, Karine.
Okay, I just sent you a text message on your phone. So.
Excellent.
Way ahead of it, yeah.
Excellent, and also, I'm just looking at the email that we just got from the Digital Humanities Summer Institute. It says that in October, they will reveal the full list of courses, so.
Yeah, so you'll have some time after the course releases before the November 1st deadline to kind of consider those courses. They won't immediately open registration either. So this year, we're gonna try really hard to award quickly so that people can get into the courses they want. Yeah.
And I was just gonna say, I had mentioned before that I had signed up for a course, and that was what my whole application the first time was about, and then it filled up immediately. So things will happen, but as we've all mentioned, a lot of these courses are very beginner friendly. They might be challenging, and as we said, they're very condensed for the most part, but they're very accessible. And even if, let's say, your number one option, what I did when I was actually applying and I saw the courses I just put a list of like both weeks of like courses that stuck out to me. That way, oh, this one actually filled up when everything was said and done. Here's 3 others that I thought also sounded fun. So there's plenty of options. So don't be discouraged if something happens as well.
Wise.
Questions? The first one is how many courses can we take, especially if tuition is being covered? Secondly, when will we hear back on an application if the deadline is November 1? So after that deadline, when do we hear back? There was also information on the tuition fellowship. So you offer tuition. So should you get that tuition, does it mean individuals are responsible for finding housing, taking care of that fees and then feeding?
Yeah, okay, so I didn't write those down and now I regret it. Could you just very briefly repeat the first one?
How many courses?
How many courses can you take? Awesome. So yeah, we didn't cover that. So the courses at DHSI are 1 week long. So you pick one course and you take it for 1 week. The tuition scholarship will cover a 1 week course. As Emma said though, there are other scholarship opportunities, both at DHSI for folks, so you can apply for a DHSI tuition coverage as well. And then Emma, I think you mentioned a couple of other scholarship opportunities that you sought out.
Yeah, the field department, I got the graduate scholarship, I got the Foster scholarship, the field travel support. I mean, I got different sources, but yeah, from the Digital Humanities tuition scholarship, that was something I got too.
Thank you so much. That reminded me to say, Emma, thank you, that one of the things we tried to do is by getting the tuition scholarship, we're covering the biggest expense and then hoping that that fellowship, so we call it a fellowship, that fellowship will leverage your ability to get funding from other sources. And so that is related to one of your other questions, which was other expenses, travel, accommodations. I would love for folks to talk about accommodations at DHSI and what it's like. And some people have done both Victoria and Montreal, and I'm sure it's very different now. I used to stay in the dorms in Victoria when I went.
That's
Yeah, cool. But so there are various options. There are some ways to ask DHSI to help you out, especially with accommodations. I'm assuming they're gonna do that again this year. We'll have more information soon. So the past 2 years, the Digital Humanities Initiative has offered matching funds. So if your unit gives a little bit of money for your travel, we'll match those funds. We might not be able to do the same amount of matching funds this year, but we are going to offer something. It just might not be that same amount. So I won't say what the amount is yet. And then you had a second question. I'll answer that real quick.
Oh, when will we hear back on application?
Awesome. We'll try to get it back as soon as possible before the courses are open for registration. That's our goal this year. Fingers crossed. But within, I would say, probably, I'm gonna say 3 to 5 weeks. Hopefully quicker. 3 to 5 just to save us. We're almost out of time, but I want folks to talk about, yeah.
Oh, I was also gonna say, especially as somebody who's a member of the grad student government, definitely reach out for them, especially if you get awarded the fellowship. That will probably help you a lot if you apply to the grad student government for a travel grant. Just make sure you're doing it. I think our deadline is 3 months in advance, so you'll have plenty of time before June next year hits. But I just wanted to keep that, throw that out there for folks.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any reflections on accommodations?
So, this one was funny, and I think it I don't wanna say trauma bonded, but I think people bonded over it. So it was the first year in Montreal, apparently the Victorian ones were very posh. But they typically offer some kind of like dorm living at the university who's hosting. And this one wasn't bad, it was very affordable, and I think that was reflected in the quality of the dorm. I didn't think it was too bad, like, it's a space, you could lock your door, it had running water. Maybe I just have low standards, but I laughed because our one of our instructors, he had this really thick Eastern European accent, and the last day, he had taken pictures of his accommodation, and he was like, prison, it looks like prison. And we're like, it's not that bad, but yeah, so that just made me laugh. But yeah, I think, long story short, I think accommodations are kind of like, you get to be doing this for free, so maybe don't have the like Hilton level expectations, but like it was fun. It was fun.
It's a dorm.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and I don't remember how old University of Montreal is, but I would say just like versus University of Victoria, which is only like 100 years old at this point. It is very different. Not bad, but it is just like you have to level your expectations a little bit. And I think maybe in the future we talk about Airbnb or something like that.
I like that.
Like if we as a colleague thing, but pending.
Yeah.
Pending.
That's a great, good idea.
I was gonna say, I didn't stay at the dorm, but I've heard a lot about the dorm.
It wasn't that bad.
It was fine.
I had an Airbnb to myself, there's a lot of places available around campus, and it will be more affordable if you can find someone to share the space with.
I've heard a rumor that they are gonna start again this year a roommate matching document. But if those that are awarded this year, maybe what I'll do is I'll gather the awardees and we'll think about how to share things. Okay, all right, thank you so much for that idea. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, even at DHSI, when I taught, they put us in a dorm where I wore flip-flops in the shower.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
yes,
very
Always
yeah.
recommend flip-flops.
we're always wearing flip-flops.
I think I would also contact the people that is organizing, because I know that they are changing many things, because that last year was the first year there. So they are improving, they sent a survey on how was our honest opinion about that. To me, it was regular college, dorm, but it was cold because they don't use heating things like that we are used to here. And coming from Arizona could be a little bit, shocking for you, but you can prepare for that, so it's not really bad if you are prepared. And yeah.
Thank you. So pack a sweater and flip-flops.
Yeah.
Okay.
After all weather.
Prepare for all.
It is. I was just gonna say is like, it's a good change of pace from summer Arizona, but it can still be the weather is Montreal is beautiful.
Yeah.
The weather can still be a bit of a challenge. It can change very, very, very quickly, but it's just. I mentioned it to some of the colleagues. Going to DHSI was the first year going to Victoria was the first time I ever left the country, and the second time was the very first time I've ever was only the second time I ever left the country, and so it's a wonderful opportunity. Just like beyond the scholarship, it's a great way to see the world a little bit, to get out. Like we said, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. So.
And I'll end by saying the other thing that this conversation has reminded me of, and I'm not sure if I said it earlier, but I think one of y'all said it, is that it is very true that everyone that goes to DHSI hears, oh, it's summer camp for digital humanities. And it really does feel like summer camp.
It is.
If summer camp also had the opportunity to go to really good restaurants and bars at the end of the day. So, and network, get coffee, walk around the city. When I was in Victoria, there were beautiful gardens, and I think there's also beautiful gardens in Montreal. So it is a good opportunity to meet people. We are unfortunately out of time. So thank you so much for those that are joining us, but especially thank you to our panelists today. Another time, maybe we'll have you back to talk more about your scholarship, because thank you so much for sharing what you're working on. I have a lot of cool questions that maybe I'll ask you later. Okay, awesome. So thanks those for joining us. The DHSI tuition fellowship applications are open. If you have any questions, please contact me. You can also contact someone on the steering committee for the Digital Humanities Initiative, if that's a person that's in your unit and you have any questions for them. So thank you again. We're gonna go ahead and end the Zoom. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Those that are on camera are waving. All right. Thank you. Thank you.